So you think you can compose? Of course you can. We're in episode 3. Welcome back. My name is Ludwig Treviranus, and in today's episode, we're going to be hanging out with none other than Mr. William Shakespeare. You know this man, Othello, Hamlet. What's the other one? Romeo and Juliet. Much ado about music? Not much ado about nothing. The man is so prolific. He's a playwright, he's a poet, he's an actor. And in today's episode, I wanted to dive into his character, some musical themes, and just walk you through my thoughts on how I've translated music into the world of William Shakespeare. So let's just jump straight into it. Well, first of all, as you know, he's very poetic with his language, very rhythmic. I wanted to set the scene before getting into his language. So I came up with the idea of a lute being played. All right. So now we're right there. I figured, why not take one of his most famous lines, to be or not to be, and turn it into a melody, but use that rhythm. So this is what I came up with. All right. And I wanted to play around as well with some harmonies that would, I guess, follow the line or the questioning. So going from C minor up to E flat major, I really love that transition going just up a minor third from C up to E flat. It does give a feeling of a question. And then from there, from the E flat, I jump down a fifth. There's a sense of resolve, but at the same time, it's still searching. So it's somewhere in between. So I'm starting from the C minor, I jump up a third, minor third, and then down a fifth. So that's what I came up with for poetic language. Let's continue moving. Tragedy. How can you have a Shakespearean play without tragedy? To create tragedy, I wanted to have the left hand and the right hand quite far apart using octaves, and then accompaniment in the middle, right? So the intensity comes from these outside lines. You'll also notice I wanted to create a pedal note, right? So a pedal note is a note that just kind of hangs, it's like a drone. Have that in the left hand, and that to me creates that intensity. Meanwhile, you have the melody in the right hand. Right? Now this here, struggle, it's got to be what's known as a tremolo, where you're going back and forth between the notes. Oh no! Shock, horror. All right. Now, if you're good with your harmonies, you'll know that there's nothing more scary than a diminished chord. All right. I wanted to add a little C in there as well because that's still in the pedal note. So you can see if you want to create this feeling of shock and horror, add some diminished harmonies in there as well. All right. So that's for tragedy. Comedy is always a tricky one to write, especially when you don't see the face of the person that's performing, right? All the music is to be played here at the piano. So how do you create that? Comedy is, well, how would you define comedy? It's the unknown, it's the unexpected. So what I did is I've got this sweet little melody that goes like this. Oopsie, right? How good is that? Right? So that's one way. Now, you can't play these notes here sweet like this. That's not funny. Something that's funny and unexpected is putting two notes together, a minor second, so it creates this clash or a dissonance. So it has to be completely opposite from what came before, right? That to me creates that shock, but also it's a little bit silly. Misleading melody. Here's another one. What about this here? So if I start from here, measure 43. What? And then wah, 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 wah. You gotta put that. It's super cliche, but it works, right? So the ear is hoping to hear this. Right? Not today, sir. upper half step. All right, so play around with that when you're looking to put in some comedy into your music. Well, as you know, these plays have stood the test of time. They're timeless, they're historical. So I was trying to figure out, how do I represent that in the works of Shakespeare and Shakespeare as a person? Well, to me, he's royalty. To me, he's royalty in theatre, in the English language, in drama, and plays. And so dotted rhythms is always going to create a feeling of royalty. And using intervals of thirds and fifths, thirds, going to a fifth. All right, so you can play around with some of those intervals using dotted rhythms, thirds, and fifths to get that sound of royalty. And last but not least, we have to celebrate this man and all his achievements. And so here is a classic chord progression you hear in a lot of classical music. Listen to this here. I'll start from this chord. Couldn't be more uplifting than that, right? All right, so here's the trick. Let me walk you through. Actually, let me see if I can get myself a keyboard. How about this one here? All right, so say you start on C, all right? We're gonna go up 4 notes. We're gonna go down 1, up 4, down 1, up 4. Now, if you put each of these into a triad, it's gonna sound like this: C major, F, E major, and this is super important, right? Sorry, I should have told you this before. When you're playing through the scale, you're going to use the notes of that scale when you're going from interval to interval. When you get to chord 3, you want to make that a major chord. So you're going to go from C, F, E major, A, G, and C. All right, so we're going to go up 4, down 1, up 4, down 1, up 4. You can do that in any key, and it's always, telling you right now, going to give you this feeling of being uplifted and celebratory. All right, guys, that's a little bit about Shakespeare. Hopefully you guys managed to get something little out of that. I would love to hear what you guys come up with as well in terms of these themes, and seeing how you can translate the themes of Shakespeare into music. Have a great day. See you guys again soon. Thanks.